Hey guys, welcome to The Refined Savage. This week on the show we have strength coaches from Ashland University, Malcolm Majesky and Tony Bland. For those of you who don't know or have never listened to the podcast, Ashland is the home of some world-class track and field athletes, and their strength and conditioning program is second to none. So check out the two masterminds behind that program. Now, just a little show note. We filmed this about a month and a half ago. So for those of you who are friends with Jed Logan on social media or in real life, you'll know that he is going through a cancer scare right now, and he has leukemia, and that's the reason why we didn't mention it on the show, is because it was a month and a half before this got found out. So we'd like you to send some well wishes and positive vibes, and if you're a praying type person, go ahead and pray for him too. Anything is appreciated. So let Judd know how you feel, and enjoy this episode with Malcolm Majesky and Tony Bland.
I think it's actually recording. Very good. All right. Anthony and Malcolm, what's happening?
Not much. Happy to be here.
Yeah, this is your third
Yeah.
time on, and Anthony, your first time?
Yeah, first time.
So you guys are strength and conditioning coaches at Ashland University,
Yeah.
which is kind of like my go-to place whenever I need anything. If I need guests for the podcast, or strength and conditioning, or throwing shit,
Yeah.
or...
How many people have come through here on the podcast that have gone through Ashland?
So you, Pepe, Judd, Megan, Jessica Bridenthal. I think it'd be 5.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sure.
Yeah. Kurt.
Kurt, yeah, Kurt. I just talked to him. He's going to come back on because I want to talk to him about his super fit conditioning shit.
Yeah. He looks good.
Do you know what the catalyst behind that was? He just tired of being heavy?
I think he got done with throwing, and I think he had to work really hard to be 320 pounds. And
Yeah.
he was like, man, I just don't feel good anymore. And he just wanted to lose some weight. And when Kurt sets his mind on something,
Right.
he like goes after it. Like which is why he's so successful in the shot put. So I think he's down to like 250 now.
Yeah.
He's down 70
what,
pounds.
6'4"?
Yeah.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's a big dude, but still moves weight. Like he was posting a lot of his workouts on Instagram there for a while.
Yep.
And I think his goal, I can't remember how he worded it, but was basically just to be a fit dad, a fit husband, and just be able to beat the shit out of some trash talking douchebag that pissed him off on the road.
Yeah, that'll do it. I recently, so we had a guy on here a couple months back. His name was Paul Jordan. He's the National Masters Judo champion.
Nice.
And I'm kind of writing this stuff, and you've been on the standard program, so you've kind of seen what we've been doing. And after looking at this standard program that we're doing, and I've got the people in the gym in here, and I've been doing religiously, I said, if you're a football player or a grappler or someone like that, this is going to be awesome because you're moving heavy weight over and over and over and over again. So you're kind of working on your endurance, but you're also getting stronger as you go. And I said, this would probably be great for grapplers. So I got a hold of Paul. And I said, hey, I want you to look at this stuff before I publish it. And I want you to kind of give me your input on it. And he's like, yeah, I want to read it. He says, you got to come out to the gym. So he owns this place called Shutu Brew Braza. I don't know what the fuck that means. Judo and Jiu-Jitsu out in Avon.
Okay.
So I went out the other night and took my first Jiu-Jitsu class.
Nice.
I got, you know me, when I get into something, I'm following every fucking Jiu-Jitsu guy on Instagram. I'm watching techniques. And so I'm super psyched to do that more. I always make fun of everybody does jiu-jitsu now. So they're always, Jocko and Joe Rogan and Andy, everyone does it. And I'm just like, fucking jiu-jitsu. I'm tired of hearing it. But once you do it, man, you get.
So what did you do for your first class?
It was very good. So I only rolled with black belts or blue belts. And I think that was because they were pretty confident I wasn't going to hurt them.
Yeah.
And they were confident themselves that they weren't going to fuck me up. And I think that's good for the first night. So I went in and they showed me some warm-up stuff, and we did some neck rolling, and we said some, I don't even know what they're called, but you practice getting away from people on the ground. And so they did like an open roll. So then we drilled a couple moves. a couple moves to kind of escape and get into a better position, which I thought was great because it wasn't like, okay, here's an arm bar, learn this, It was all how to escape from shit. So we learned that for about 20 minutes. We drilled that, and then we did these open mats, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this, So they immediately put me with this blue belt, and I don't know the progressions. I'm guessing that's fairly high, but it was a fairly even match. But I'm sure he was holding back because he was just holding back, not to kill me. And then I wrestled with this black belt. I think his name was Urek or something. And he looks like maybe a little Puerto Rican or a little Brazilian guy, and he's just sitting there Indian style. And he's like that, gave me the come hither with the fingers. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, you're done.
So, but he's smiling at me the whole time. He weighs about 170 pounds, and I immediately jump on him, and we start going. And I'm just trying to remember, like, watching UFC, try not to give him an arm, try not to give him a leg. And he's just patient, and he would just wait. But he would let me do stuff. Like, he would let me experiment and try to get into positions where, and then if a situation came up where the move we had just practiced came up, he would let me do it, So it was really good. I think there's a lot of jiu-jitsu schools around, and I actually, after the other night, I kind of went, where's every jiu-jitsu school around me? Because I'll just go and roll at all these different places, and I'll be a black belt in like 3 months. And this one seems to be, I know Paul is a really, really good dude and really technical, so I'm going to just stick out there and just suck him going like 2-3 nights a week, figure it out.
So is jiu-jitsu the one where you wear like the thicker clothing and you're like grabbing onto people?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can do gi or no gi.
Okay.
So I don't fucking gi. I just showed up in like shorts and a t-shirt the other night. But, it was a lot easier. I'm guessing the gi is going to be a little bit easier because I was grabbing a hold of, the collars and shit and holding on to people. And I actually got a hold of Daniele Boelle, who does the History on Fire podcast. You ever heard History on Fire?
No.
Really good. Daniele's really good. He's a mixed martial artist, and his girlfriend's a mixed martial artist. And I'm like, hey, Daniele, every once in a while he'll give me some, encouragement on the podcast. I said, hey, I'm taking my first class, and he just kind of giggled and said, tap early, tap off.
No, were you gassed by the end of it?
Yeah, so we're going, and they're like 5-minute rounds.
Okay.
And there were points in that 5 minutes where I had to stop and just take a huge breath. And I told the guy, the 170 pounder I was rolling with, I said, man, this is different conditioning than I'm used to. And he goes, oh yeah, it's just a whole different, because you're going hard for 5 minutes. You're doing a Metcon out here, you could stop middle and get your breath and then go again.
Mm-hmm.
You do that, you're going to get choked.
Yeah. So is this going to change up any way that you train?
I think I still think what we're doing in that standard program is really good, but I will start adding in 5-minute burst workouts, 5 minutes on, minute off, 5 minutes on, and just going as hard as you fucking can for those 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I think the program that we're doing, moving heavy stones, moving heavy tires, and I think it's the best we can do to simulate it,
for sure,
and odd objects and things like that. So I'm psyched about it, see where it goes. But now I'm down that rabbit hole, driving my wife crazy. I tried to get her involved in it. She's like, "Nope, I'm good. I'm gonna do that." I'm attacking Hayden, my son. I'm like running in, doing the Bruce Lee yell and jumping on him. He's like, "Fuck,
get away from me!"
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what are you guys doing? What's going on in Ashland right now?
This is probably our busiest time of the year. A lot of the off-season sports are in the weight room more. There's not really much to do outside.
Yeah.
So everybody's lifting right now. Football's in 4 days a week. The nice thing with that is in years past, we've had over 100 kids in the off-season. And
just in football?
Just in football.
Wow.
And through kids graduating, kids leaving, kids transferring, deciding they didn't want to play anymore, we're down to 70 right now.
Right.
So I have 2 groups. versus 3
Right.
that there used to be, which is really nice. So not as tired at the end of the day,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. We added sports. We added women's lacrosse, men's tennis. But like Tony just started in August, right? And so like having him this year has been huge.
So how do you break it up?
We split it right down the middle,
Yeah.
pretty much, because we have the 2 buildings. We have the Cates Gymnasium, where a lot of our Olympic sports are. Track kind of splits their time between both, but like baseball's over there, basketball's over there, swimming's over there, wrestling.
That's the way I'm normally in when I
Yes,
go there.
yeah,
I'm
yep.
familiar with it.
And then there's the Troop Center, which is attached to the football
That's
field.
a beautiful facility.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. It's I didn't even know that place existed.
Yeah, it's getting close to being 10 years old. It opened in 2010. But yeah, so like football's over there, soccer's over there, tennis. So he takes care of. Who do you have?
Swim, softball, baseball, esports.
Esports?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
What's that?
Video games.
Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, we're one of the first, I want to say like 20 or 30 colleges to offer it as an actual activity for intercollegiate competition.
No shit.
Yep.
So are they giving money away for this?
Yeah, I mean,
Get the fuck out of here.
I
How
want
do
to
you
say they have, what, a $4,000 scholarship or something like that?
Yeah.
how do you win that? I mean, is there coaching and
Yeah, there's 2 coaches, 2 coaches on staff full time, and then their roster's pretty big. So
I would imagine
they play like, I want to say 4 or 5 different games, and they go to competitions fairly often. And
wow.
There's a couple kids on the football team that are on the e-sport team as
So
well.
you can do both.
yeah,
Yeah, 2 sport athletes.
Well, with Ashland, the amount of money you pay for Ashland, you better. What is going on with this? Hold on here, 1 second here. We're gonna just stick with the phone because for some reason I can't figure out what the fuck's going on. All right. So esports. Do you know how they recruit that or?
It's big, like
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, the viewership for the World Championship was more than the Super Bowl for video games.
hmm
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, it's insane. So like, there's certain games that I think that they play
yeah,
and they recruit kids that are really good at those games.
yeah. I think when they first started it, they had a lot of like, I want to call them walk-ons, but they kind of put it out there on things that, you know, those kids would frequent, like Reddit and
Right.
a few other websites, and people just showed up and started trying out. And I'm assuming it's more like a tournament style when they show up to see how they play. And they go down there. Man, last semester they were down there late nights playing their games.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And they have, they were telling me the other day that there was a couple kids that they had a coach sit behind them as they were playing. They'd let them play the round, and then at the end of the round, they'd stop and coach them. So it was just like every other sport.
Have you seen these coaches? Are they my age or are they like?
Actually, the head coach is what, 25?
No, he's young. He literally graduated college and got a job as the head coach.
Wow.
He's 22 years old.
Hey, Mom and Dad, I'm gonna go to school. the e-sport coach at Ashland University. What do you do in the weight room, and why the fuck do they even care to come to the weight room?
So the biggest thing with them is just keeping them healthy, get them moving. So right now they're doing a bunch of circuits and metcons on the first day of the week.
Right.
And the second day is all purely strength based. So I want to get them a little bit stronger, and it's more focusing on their back and their shoulders than anything.
I guess.
Because I mean, I've talked to them after competitions, and you know they're sitting there for hours on end playing a game. They're hunched over the keyboard,
Yeah.
and they're sore. I mean, they feel beat up because they're sitting there and they're playing. It's
Is there any resistance to them being in there? I mean, from them, or they?
no, not at all. I mean,
Really?
we have a consistent crew that shows up, and they love it. They want to
Oh,
keep doing
shit.
it, and it's great.
I never in a million years, especially Ashland would be the first one to do that.
Yeah, they jumped on board
Yeah,
pretty quick.
that facility's beautiful too.
Yes, yeah,
Get out of here! What is it? Is it just a big room? Where
Yeah, like with a almost like a war table.
Yeah.
Computers and like giant TVs, and they invested quite a bit. They in national rankings, like you said, there's like 20, 30 schools.
Something like that,
Ashland was ranked 6th in the country among all the. Yeah, I mean, there's some Division I schools that have invested too, in it, but yeah.
So track and field and esports, where we're getting the athletes in at Ashland.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Wow. You know, I've been saying, I don't know anything about video games. I mean, literally I remember playing Super Mario Brothers a little bit when I was a kid, but I never got into it. It was never like, this is something I want to take my time. But the way things are going now, everything's being automated, and, from the military all the way up through trucking and everything else, these people are going to be super valuable when they get out, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's like, as much as people don't want to listen to it or don't want to hear about it or don't want to believe it, like, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Because it's just the way things are going.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, my daughter is going to be 3 in April, and we try to keep our phones away from her as much as possible because we just want her to roam around and play and stuff like that. But then, like, we give our phones to her every once in a while, and she'll sit there and she'll just like push buttons and like text people or whatever, look at pictures, play with Snapchat. But we were so against it, and we're like, man, but eventually she's gonna have to know this stuff because every other kid is gonna know it.
Yep.
And every other kid's gonna maybe have a phone. I don't know, but like,
Hayden wasn't allowed. I felt the exact same way, and he didn't have a phone until he was 11. And then his mother bought it for him, so I didn't have much of a say. And then when he was 12 and he started getting into throwing, I kept sending him all these YouTube videos of throwers. And I'm like, just here, you can have Snap or Instagram, and but I'll follow you. And I kind of gave him the don't post on people's stuff that you're not friends with, and don't post anything crazy. And I've sent him a couple articles about how coaches will look at you and figure out who you are via your Instagram or your social media accounts, and he's been really good so far. He made a comment. He doesn't like Reese Hoffa's shot put technique because he comes off his heel. So, one of the websites, I think it was, what's his name? The guy who does Garage Strength.
I know you're talking about.
Dane. Anyhow, Dane. He was another Bondarchuk guy, but he was doing like a throws tournament, and he had Reese Hoff up there top, and Hayden got pissed. He's like, Reese Hoff, are you serious? And he'll turn out of the back, and everyone started jumping on him. I'm like, dude, if they knew you were 13 years old. And I'm like, don't post stuff like that anymore because I know you have a problem with his heel turn, but he is an Olympian, and maybe so. But but we felt the same way. Keep it away from him as long as we could. But you maybe are doing a disservice by not letting them.
I don't know. And we're not like, we put a time limit on it. We're like, okay, 3 minutes. When the timer goes off, you're done. You know, you gotta go play. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. So yeah, esports is the thing. The biggest thing, like when they were first talking about it, and like everybody's joking around, they're like, oh, they're gonna want weight room time. They're gonna want to be in there. And so I'm like, okay, I like really started to have to wrap my head around it. And it's like the biggest thing that I was equating it to before was NASCAR.
Right.
Not the same forces on your body, obviously, but like the stress, sitting for hours on end and having to just like focus, you know, constantly at something and paying attention. Like, I don't know if it's the same, but it was my way of justifying them needing to be fit.
I think that makes total sense, you know.
And Crystal Johnson, she, like, we were talking about it the one time, and she was like, honestly, those kids probably need you guys more than just about anybody else.
Right.
In terms of being fit, because, I mean, like, some of the kids that are on the team, they've, like, with gym class being taken out of school.
Yeah.
You know, and now you can get a credit for playing a sport, or, you know, you probably don't even need that anymore.
Band is the same thing as taking a sport.
So it's like some of these kids are going through school without ever have done any physical activity, you know? So it's like getting them in, it could be life changing.
Yeah, they. I know Hayden at the high school, at Vermilion High School, they have a walking for fitness class.
Mhm.
It's not even gym class. They're just out there on the track walking it, and I walk slow. These kids are just shuffling on their phones around the track. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is I'm a firm believer. I love that Kelly Starrett talks about it. It might be something you guys want to pass along, but he talked about if you're in any kind of thing where you're sitting for long periods of time, desk job or on the road, for sales or truck driving, that you should keep a kettlebell with you. And for every hour you sit, you swing the kettlebell 30 times to open your hips up.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things, like you bring these kids in here and they've never had any experience opening their hips at all. So they're all slunched over.
Yep.
They can't open their hips. You can't teach them a power clean.
Yeah.
Deadlifts are hard.
Yeah.
Kettlebell swings is all arms.
Yeah.
Yep.
They don't know how to do anything.
That's like any coach that asks for advice, any high school coach that asks for advice about lifting, like exercises in the weight room, like what do we do? It's like, well, you can't base what you do off of what we do. Like,
absolutely.
You gotta teach these kids the basics,
Mm-hmm.
and teaching them how to hinge from the hip could be the best thing that a coach could teach a
absolutely.
kid coming up through high school.
I think that's probably the hardest thing to teach people, and high school coaches don't really want to teach it because proprioceptive feedback they need. They don't know how to cue that.
Right.
So we get a lot of kids that come in that can't do an RDL,
yeah.
even with a PVC pipe.
Yeah.
And it's equally
If they either
frustrating.
squat, I'm guessing, or do like a stiff leg. They
Yeah,
can't figure
absolutely.
out how to push back.
Yeah, they don't know unlock their knees and push their hips back.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's when I remember when I was learning to lift and I was taught an RDL, I picked it up right away, and everyone in my class did. It's just all these kids do is sit, so their whole
Yeah.
posterior chain is just relaxed and
Garbage.
underdeveloped.
Yeah.
So
And it's something you take for granted.
yeah, absolutely.
It's something that you're able to do. And it's like, why can't you do this?
Right.
I have
Like,
a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Bringing people in, and I'm like, you got to be fucking with me. You can't do that simple move. And I got to tell myself, no, they can't. They've never done it. They have
Yeah.
no idea.
That's the thing. It's like you tell a kid that's doing it. Like we'll have an RDL prescribed in our workout, and you're watching a kid do it, and his shoulders are rounding, or that's the first movement that he makes.
Yeah.
He's like rounding his shoulders to start it.
Yeah.
It's like no, keep your back flat. He's like, okay. He goes to do it, shoulders round again.
Yeah.
No, keep your back flat. And like they look at you like, I don't know how to. And you're like, okay, you have to remind yourself that they've never done it before.
Yeah. That's Pape is becoming very good at that stuff because I get so frustrated because I can't. He's great with the sports performance class. These young kids that come in because I want to be an old man and just bitch that can't do stuff. And I've got to really check myself and make sure we're getting it done. But it's amazing to me that kids can't do anything, and the physical education is just totally destroyed in this country. And I've had a couple phys ed teachers on here who are just super frustrated by it.
Really?
Have you read? There's an article by JFK in the 60s, and it's called The Soft American.
Okay.
Have you read that?
No.
It's an old Sports Illustrated article, and my buddy Joel turned me on to it, and it's amazing. It's JFK in the 60s going, we're fucked. If we don't get physical education going in the schools, we're going to be left behind, and these kids are so soft, and they can't do anything. And then they did like a big push in schools for a while there, and then you'll see these old videos on YouTube of kids, gym classes, like short shorts, no shirts. These
Yep.
kids are going over the monkey bars. They're
Yeah.
doing gymnastics and all this calisthenics and swinging dumbbells, and it was crazy. But it took someone to, I don't know if the climate of this country would allow it anymore, but
I didn't realize how big of a detriment it was to take gym class out of school until I worked with the Army, and talking to the drill sergeants and talking to like the people in charge. They're like, it's a matter of national security.
absolutely.
Because we get these kids in that haven't run, that haven't done anything, and then we take them out on a 2-mile ruck, and they end up being hurt.
Yeah.
And then taxpayer dollars are going to these kids getting physical therapy.
Right.
Like it's
The VA's stacked when they get out because
Yeah.
they're all broken.
yeah.
We had a kid come in here. It was a couple years ago now, and so the Army does this thing now, and I think it's a little bit of a fishing exercise. So what they do is they throw out hey, if you do super well in this program, right out of boot camp, you're going into special forces. And all these kids who've never done shit in their life all of a sudden think they're going to be Navy SEALs, So this kid came in, and he's going to be a Green Beret. He's going through this program, and he walks in, and I'm just like, you don't look like any special ops guy I've ever seen in my life. And he's giving me all these tips on what he wants to do in the training with this. He brings in this sandbag the first day, this 40-pound sandbag, and I'm like, okay, we're not going to do any of that. We got to get you in shape. Block one, you're not. And he kept wanting to do this thing with this. Oh, the sandbag's great. So I gave it to one of my soccer moms, and she's just throwing it up over her head. I'm like, do you think that's going to make you a Navy SEAL? He goes, she's got 3 kids. She just sits around her house all day. So he kept fighting me, and so I got Isaac on him.
Yep.
So I grabbed Isaac. Isaac's, I've got a man crush on Isaac. He's a recon sniper in Fallujah, and I said, show this kid what he's in for. And I told him the whole story, and Isaac walks over to him and says, be here tomorrow, 2 p.m., bring your ruck. I want camos and your boots. So the kid shows up, he's got his ruck. Isaac's ruck's like twice as big. So I'm sitting at my desk, and Isaac goes, all right, we'll be right back. And he goes, follow me. So they just go walking out the door. They're running and walking. And they were gone for probably an hour. They come walking back, and my desk used to be out front. And I see Isaac come across the front of the building in his ruck, and he comes to the front door, and he goes, watch this. He walks right out the back of the gym, and the kid comes walking in dying. He's like, where's Isaac? I go, right that way. Takes him right back out for another hour. And the kid never made it. I don't think he made it through boot camp, But, it's a matter of national security that these kids can't do. We had a girl come in a couple days ago, I'm going to be a Marine.
Yeah.
I said, okay. She goes, I heard this is the place to get in shape if I'm going to the Marine Corps. I said, yeah, we'll get you ready to go. And I'm looking at her. She's got her nails are perfectly done. Her hair's perfectly done. And I said, why don't you take a class first to see if you like it? Nope, I want to pay. So, okay. Took her money. And I said, you start today? No, I want to start on the 15th. And it was like the 5th. And I'm like, well, I'm going to charge you today. Come, let's start. She goes, well, I just got a tattoo and I don't want to get it dirty. I said, okay. And she goes, I'll start on the 15th. So, is today the 15th? I think today's the 15th. Yeah, yesterday was Valentine's Day, right?
Today's
No,
16th.
16th. So it hasn't been in yet. We'll see. I'll get a text message in a couple weeks. Hey, can you take me off auto pay?
I got another tattoo.
Yeah, thanks for that money. But yeah, that's you said you spoke at the Ohio Strength Coaches Conference.
No, it was the Ohio High School Football Coaches Clinic.
How did that come about?
The equipment guys are based out of Columbus, Stray Dog Equipment, and they are one of the sponsors for the clinic. And the guy that runs it, or the guy that gets all the speakers, he reached out to them. I guess they kind of put a bug in their ear every year about who they want to hear speak or who they, think would be okay in front of people. Yeah. And so they gave him my name. The guy calls me up and just asks me.
That's awesome.
And I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, there's going to be about 1,000 people here the first night, and total the following 2 days will be about 2,000. So
how many times did you speak?
Just once.
Okay.
Yeah, just that opening night.
Yeah.
So Thursday night, 5 o'clock, I was the first speaker. Yeah.
What was the topic?
Basically what we're talking about. Like with high school athletes. It was creating a resilient athlete.
I like that.
Yeah, I just the warm-up that we do, or that I do with all the sports that I work with, is about 36 exercises, stationary, before we get into any kind of a dynamic warm-up.
Uh-huh.
And it's something that I had to do when I started working with the Wexner Medical Center down in Columbus. And it's based off of the functional movement screen. It was something, again, that I had to do when I started working with them, because we were going into the high schools. We had, Ohio State gear on and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we had to represent what they wanted, which was fine.
Yeah.
And I saw a huge benefit for it, especially when I started working with college kids. Because I would implement it, and we'd be going through like a T-spine mobility exercise, and everybody'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that feels so much better. That feels so good." So I was like, "Oh man, this is actually some good stuff." So it's a 36 exercise warm-up that basically covers the entire body, helps increase mobility, helps increase blood flow, and just kind of gets them ready for the lift, kind of wakes them up a little
How
bit.
long does it take to get through the 36 exercises?
So the first time that I usually do it with a team, it takes about 45 minutes. So it takes pretty close to an entire session.
Yeah.
But by the time they learn it, you go in, okay, just name off an exercise, the sets and the reps, they go through it, they're done. It takes about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, that's perfect.
So yeah, I mean, it's not like it's, taking the place of anything that you would do in the weight room.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing that people need to get through their heads. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of movement and it'll take a lot of time at first, but the benefit that these kids will get from it down the road is huge.
When you get a chance, post it on the online program thing. I'd like to take a look at it, and our people probably would too.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
Absolutely. So yeah, took a couple guys with me, a couple guys from the football team. The one kid has aspirations of being a bodybuilder when he's done with football.
Yeah.
And he's a DB right now, but he weighs about 220.
Woo!
And he has veins going through his arms. So I was like, if there's any kid that's going to make our program look good, it's going to be this kid.
Right.
So
Take the jack guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look how smart I am.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I took those guys with me and basically just put them through the whole warm up in front of everybody, and then got into some programming. Not anything like, hey, do 5-3-1 or hey, do conjugate method. Do but teach a kid how to hinge from the hip.
Yeah.
2-to-1 pull to push ratio.
Yes.
Yes. Weighted carries will change your program instantly.
All the stuff that nobody's doing.
Yeah, just some basic things that is a foundation for the programs that I write, just to try to help out, where I can.
Yeah, all those things. God, how many football programs are doing farmers carries and worried about doing as more back stuff than you do for the front. It's just
and it's something that people, I think, don't want to believe, or maybe not want to believe, but they don't buy into it right away because it's something that nobody's ever really done.
Right.
But like Louis, I mean, he talked about never be afraid of what somebody looks like from the front.
Yep.
Be afraid of what they look like from the back.
Yep.
Big posterior chain, big back, big butt, big hamstrings, that sort of thing.
But when I was throwing, I would notice that all the time.
Yeah.
I knew when a guy came in and he was super jacked and had big pecs. you're
That's where he's
good. You got a chance. When someone comes in with a big giant ass and hamstrings, this guy's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Vieira, who was a 5-time world champion. And everyone said he used to look like a truck driver, but he was just kind of big. The front of him was just total jello. I mean, just goo, and his arms were long and not developed at all. But he had this big giant ass and big thick legs, and it was just like, this guy is just built to throw. And he would get so long and loose and just generate so much power.
Yeah.
And he didn't give a fuck. I think he got a kick out of how out of shape he was and could still throw very far, but that's 100%. And those heavy carries, I wish more people would do heavy carries because you'll find God in a workout where you're doing heavy carries.
We had so we use trap bars because we don't have dumbbells heavy enough to challenge some of our kids. So we load trap bars up with 400 or 500 pounds.
Yeah.
I got a set of farmer's walk handles and started using those for our really strong kids. And they would have, I think the heaviest they got was 300 pounds per hand.
That's stout.
Yeah. I mean, and for kids to be walking, the one kid said afterwards, he goes, I literally felt like brain cells were spilling out of my ears when I was carrying the weight. I was like, you got better today, though. But like, I mean, Tony says it all the time with his powerlifting background, like getting stronger with a bigger back.
Yeah, absolutely. Big back, big bench. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, and that seems to be like a new, not that it's a new concept, but it's now people are starting to finally talk about that,
right.
It's
amazing. I mean, I know my bench suffered. When I focused more on my back, my bench went up.
Uh-huh.
It, doesn't make sense to most people.
Right.
But then when you actually finally do it, it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to, you talk to Wenning or any of those guys, talk about, getting the back jacked up.
Oh, yeah.
Doing all the extra work for it.
Yeah.
My upper back's always been my strong suit, but I still do hundreds of reps a week on it. I walk by the rack, there's a band up there, I'm going to hit 50 or 60 face pulls.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's, so like you said, I've been doing your standard program online, and
you killed it, by the way.
Yeah. The exercises that you've been prescribing before the workout.
Yeah.
Like the I mean, I don't want to call it assistant stuff, but it kind of
it's Wenning's.
Yeah.
It's Wenning stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just took it from him.
Like the tricep push downs, the tear parts, the rows, the bench, like all that stuff. I've put on probably 7 to 8 pounds since I've started doing this.
Yeah.
But my body fat has gone down.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you're putting on weight with all those Metcons too.
Exactly. Yeah. And like you said, with just moving the heavy weight, like we're limited being out of the college with what we have.
Yeah.
Like we don't have stones, so I'll do a trap bar deadlift or something.
Go get yourself a sandbag.
Or
Some natural stones and leave them outside.
Yeah.
I've been telling people that go down to the beach and get a natural stone.
You don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But like we have some tires in the field house, and the workout a couple weeks ago where it was like 5 tire flips and 10 wall balls or 5 wall balls, whatever it was. Like we only have certain size tires, like ones that are really light and ones that are really heavy.
Right.
So I picked ones that are really heavy.
Yeah.
And by the time I got done, my shoulders were bleeding.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so stupid.
I mean, the guys in here, I usually use the 550 tire, but Isaac is a fucking awesome tire flip guy. He's using the 700 pounder,
Shit.
I use the 550 because I have mobility issues and it's taller, so I can actually work my way underneath it. It's just a really pretty tire, but I mean, I'm a firm believer and that's the basis of this first book I'm writing is how to incorporate very heavy lifts into your Metcons. So there's no reason you need to do these Metcons where you're only using 95 pounds. You're not going to get any stronger doing that. But I think if we incorporate very heavy movements into these Metcons, you can train both in a functional way with your heart rates jacked up, and you start to recover a lot faster. That was the first thing we did with Pape when he came in, was just get him off 3-minute rest periods. And we said, within a couple of months, you're going to be fine. You can take that 60-second rest period tops, between these heavy sets, and that was a big change for him. But you started to see him getting in really good shape really fast.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I mean, just doing this, like going through your program, like I could see the benefit of it for some summer conditioning for our football guys too.
Yeah. I do too.
Especially our big guys.
Yep.
Instead of having them go out there and run 110s.
Yes.
Have them do some of the Metcons that you've been writing up.
Doesn't that make more sense?
Totally.
Flip the tire for 5 minutes, or doing some other stuff too, instead of. I never understood long distance running for football kids, but I think it goes back to the just the ignorance of the coach. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
So we got to get them in shape. We got to run them.
Yeah. What they've always done, and it just what's football? Getting into somebody, within 10 seconds. 10 seconds rest every time, or 20 seconds, whatever it might be, and having to go, max effort at them.
Yep.
For 11 weeks in a year.
You can't see how flipping a heavy tire pertains to being on the offensive line. You've either never flipped a heavy tire, you've never been on the offensive line.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing.
Right.
There's no difference there.
Yeah.
That's why I really am psyched about this, and I'm trying to write as fast as possible. And then what's happening is I'll get off on tangents, which I'm known to do. And I'm like, oh shit, I got to move that chapter and put that in some other book somewhere down the line. So I'm writing way more than I actually need to get this, 150-page book out or whatever. But
when's it going to be out?
I don't know. Hopefully soon. I need to, like I said, that's what slows me down the most is I'll come up with an idea and then I'll get it down real quick and then I realize that maybe that's not for this one, and I'll move it over to the next one. And this is basically just on our standard program, and how it relates to strongman and grappling sports and those things were, because I'm a big believer in strongmen need to be better conditioned too, and need to be able to do shit with their heart rates up.
Yeah.
So I'm about 90 pages in written.
Wow.
So I mean, we're getting close, and I've got this girl who doesn't know it yet, but I'm bringing her in to do the photography, and she runs this incredible Instagram page. It's called the Ballet Experiment, and she's a friend of a friend, and she doesn't know it, but I've already decided that I'm going to bring her in and do all the photographs for her. She has these incredible pictures of these ballet dancers in downtown Cleveland, and so I'm just going to bring her in and just have her take pictures of people lifting and flipping tires and lifting stones. I think she'll do a really good job with it. So if she's listening right now. She's got a gig coming, so just be prepared.
But the goal's 150 pages.
And I'd like to do one on that, and then the other one that seems to be the most, overspill from this one is more for the track and field. Power athletes thing. So it might be based on our programs, the power program, the standard program. And so we'll go from there and see what happens. But yeah, that's the goal. And then I was going to have my wife proofread it, but I want to stay married, so I'll probably send it somewhere else and have someone else do it, because that probably wouldn't work real well. So
I don't know. I mean, for me, just kind of growing up and going through your program, like I'm really excited to read it.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like you've been doing this so long and have had so much success, and nobody else is doing it.
But
you know what
I mean? And my philosophies have changed a lot over the years, and over the last just couple of years. I mean, I was a Judd disciple from early on, and then I was a Louis disciple who just stole a lot from Judd, and all through my throwing career, I was conjugate to the hilt, and now I still think the program looks conjugate. It's just you're just dealing with different athletes and different goals, and I would love to sit down. I keep busting Heidi Hauer's balls about getting me a sit down with Louis for the podcast, but I'd like to hear his thoughts just on conditioning.
Yeah.
Just on conditioning for athletes, because I don't think he gets enough credit for that, and I don't think his powerlifters, from what he says in his podcast, do enough of it. They're like, fuck him. So I'd like to get his thoughts on it.
Yeah,
I think it'd be really good, but hopefully Heidi can set that up. She was in here last week, and I was giving her hell. Tony, how'd you get into powerlifting in general?
My high school offered it back in the day, back before there was a Raw division. So we went to nationals for USAPL, and it was.
So you get shirts and.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was all single ply gear. Went through college football, got done with that.
Where'd you play?
Played at Augustana, now Augustana University. Then I went to Iowa Western Community College and finished up at Peru State College.
At Iowa Wesleyan, did you say?
Western.
Oh, Iowa Western. Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Well, my dad was Air Force growing up, so we moved all around. I went to high school in Nebraska.
Okay.
So, went to those three schools, and then when I got to grad school, I didn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
And it was I was honestly either going to go into MMA or jiu-jitsu or go powerlifting.
Right.
And powerlifting is what I knew and what I really enjoyed. So I just kind of stuck with that, and then kind of been there ever since. I was single ply for a while, hit some all right numbers there. And then in 2014, one of my buddies that lived in Kansas City at the time was like, hey, I'm doing this raw meet. Come do it with me. Shit, I've never done raw before.
Right.
And so I went in, did a raw with wraps meet, and then just stuck with that now. And now dating a girl that trains at Elite, and she's trying to get me to go over to Multiply.
Right.
And I told her that I'll buy a pair of briefs after next year's Arnold. So in August, I'm going to try to qualify for the Arnold. And then compete in the Arnold for the XPC And
it's Dan Dagg's federation,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yep. So I got to hit 1900 in August, and then from there, that's just to get in.
Right.
So I want to compete on a big stage.
Sure. Yeah.
And
the Arnold's, it doesn't get much bigger than that.
right. I mean, there's a couple other big meets for raw lifters that are huge, a lot of paid meets and everything.
Yeah.
But the Arnold's right here. We're an hour away from Columbus, and I'd rather do that 100%.
Yeah, and it's such people who haven't been to the Arnold have no idea what the Arnold is. I mean, videos don't do it justice, and I mean, you just until you're there in that freak show and see the amount of people from every discipline you can, from fucking fencing and cheerleading all the way up to strongman, it's crazy. And you see these guys coming in for the strongman.
Yeah.
Thor did 1,045 the day.
Yeah, that was fucking insane.
Shaw came back and did 1,025. Oh my god! So I reposted that video of Thor doing 1,004. Did you see that?
Yeah.
1,045 deadlift, and my mother-in-law sent me a text. Congratulations! Do you really think that's
Thanks.
My father-in-law is asking Aaron all these questions on what's an elephant bar and how did he do that? I said it's time to start really considering the home. It's crazy. How did you so you got into powerlifting? How did you end up at Ashland?
Well,
I take it you went to the CSCS approach. And
yeah,
everything.
so I got my CSCS while I was in grad school, and I was in grad school actually as a GA working in the rec center.
Okay,
and
that must have been frustrating.
It was very, very frustrating. I mean, we did exercise classes, and that was cool. But
And where was this at?
This is at Lindenwood University.
Okay.
And but most of the people that I had show up to the classes had no interest in actually doing the classes. They just wanted to come be social.
Yeah.
And have a consistent group of people that they worked out
Yeah.
with. And so that was frustrating, but I volunteered at Missouri Baptist University.
Yeah.
And was their wrestling or strength and conditioning for the wrestling team. And from there, I was working as a personal trainer.
Worst job in the world.
Yeah, you know what? I would never go back to those days. It's great money in some markets, but man, it's not worth it. You're a therapist.
No, I couldn't stand it. Yeah.
And so I applied for an internship at Marshall. Went to Marshall, got hooked up with Matt Donaldson, and Moorhead posted an opening, and I decided, shit, I'm going to throw Rhodes an email and go down and shoot the shit with him. About a month later, he called me, I got the job. So I was there for 2.5, almost 3 years, and then this job opening came up, and I actually applied after the guy I was working with, Alex. I applied after him and got the job over him.
Yeah.
And he still talks shit to me to this day. He was so mad. Like, he was happy for me, but he was so mad.
What was the thinking? I mean, is it just because of the tradition at Ashland and what you thought you could learn, or? I mean, there's no other reason to come to fucking Ashland, Ohio.
Well, you're right.
To be honest, the first thought was that it was a full-time job. So when I was at Moorhead, I was considered part-time, but I was still putting in 50, 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
And then I applied at Ashland, and then did my research on it. And I'm like, man, this looks like a great place because I've been places where they don't care about athletics and it's just an afterthought. But at Ashland, it's at the forefront.
Yeah.
And they take a lot of pride in their athletics, and it shows by their records.
Yeah.
And so that was absolutely a place that I wanted to go and be able to work with athletes. And plus, you're in an area full of strength athletes where you could go and learn and continue your craft.
So easy to run a podcast in this state.
No, absolutely.
I could not do this anywhere else and do them all face to face because everybody's here. There's so many people I still want to get a hold of that. I'm just hounding Jim Wendler's wife to give me an interview. We met at the Swiss conference and it hit it off. And I was just going to ask him there. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll just get a hold of him later. And Julia, his wife, is a very nice lady who I'm sure fields a million idiots every day trying to get a minute with him. And but I mean, he's another one. we're going down, and you got the surrounding states too. So next month we're going to go down and talk to Randy Barnes.
Nice.
And I tell you what, this dude has got some stuff he wants to talk about. I don't want to spill any beans, but I'm like, okay, let's do it, man. I'll make sure everything's set up and ready to go.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's just been, it's so easy to get good athletes from around this area. They're everywhere.
Yeah. Even the people that travel here too.
Yep.
Like for the Arnold or something.
So I'm gonna catch, I think, 8 podcasts in 2 weeks.
Oh,
on that Thursday and Friday. I'm just going down there and hitting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going down and talk to Matt Wenning again and Brooke Souza next weekend. So, yeah, it's easy. Dave Tate when I went to talk to Dave Tate, he was like, "Yeah, come on down, let's do it."
That's
you know,
awesome.
just they're all real open. And yeah, it's great. And I don't know what it is, and no one seems to be able to explain it why Ohio is like that. You know, from Cincinnati all the way up. You know, we went down and talked to Shane Sweat, once.
Oh,
And like I said, Heidi's been on the show a bunch of times, and Kylie Ray Craig comes over from Pittsburgh, and Brandon Lilly was up at Ashland. And yeah, that was he was really interested. I wasn't sure how that was going to go, and you know, he's had, and we talked about it on the show, he's had kind of a checkered past, and it seems like he's hopefully turned the page a little bit. And
he I saw him speak down at Summer Strong this past year, and his presentation was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I saw him speak the first time that he was at Summer Strong, and he kind of talked a little bit about his past.
Yeah.
And then this last one, he was kind of talking about more of like, you know, what he's trying to do now.
Yeah.
And it was just so positive.
Right.
Like it was a great message, and just the number of people that I think he reached through that was phenomenal.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, and just with talking to you about the podcast that he did, you're like, man, he kind of blew you away.
You know me, I was skeptical.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm an older guy, so I've heard all the stories,
Yeah.
and you know, and even after it, I would get text messages from people who didn't listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
And they were nasty. And I was like, do you listen to the podcast? He's allowed to be a different guy. He admitted that he fucked some shit up, and he's getting better. He's just trying to improve himself. Why is that such a hard thing to deal with for people? And you know, Malcolm knows, if someone's a dickhead, man, I want a text message right there. Look what this dickhead did, you know. So.
Who would you like to get, like, who would you really like to sit down one-on-one with?
In like the strength and conditioning world?
Anybody.
Oh, there's a ton of people, but you know, I think Jocko would be great.
Yeah,
you know, I'd love to talk to Jocko, especially now that I'm down the jiu-jitsu rabbit hole. Jocko would be great. You know who in the strength and conditioning world who I'd like is Wellborn. John Wellborn.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to him because he was part of that CrossFit football.
Yeah.
He was CrossFit football, and there was definitely some big falling out when I think he figured out that Greg Glassman is just he's a fraud.
Yeah.
He doesn't have no fucking clue what he's doing.
Yeah.
What makes him is all his affiliates, you know, busting their ass. You know, when we were at CrossFit, the only thing we got from CrossFit was legal shit. Hey, don't do that or we're going to sue you.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'm spending so much money. You want to sue me? But I'd like to talk to you. And we have a lot of, I think, him having run CrossFit football, I think we have a lot of similar philosophies on conditioning for athletes. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I see people all the time that I wish lived closer that I would go talk to. Jack Donovan, who, if you're at like The Way of Men.
Heard of it. Haven't heard of it.
Really good book.
Okay.
He's out in Portland, and he's agreed to do the podcast if I'm ever out there. So I may end up doing some road trips here. I'd like to go talk to Joe Ken.
Yeah.
You know, I think he'd be really good.
Yeah.
And Buddy Morris.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd like to talk to anybody who's got a story.
Yeah.
I was at Cleveland Museum of Natural History talking to Dr. Brian Redmond yesterday, who's like an expert on Paleo Indians, and
That's awesome.
there's been
So cool.
so many sites around here that he's excavated. And I'm telling him about these arrowheads I found, and he's like, oh, he goes, does it look like this one here? And I was like, yeah, it looks exactly like that. And he's like, yeah, that one's like 2,500 years old. And I'm
Wow.
like, holy shit.
Yeah. You want to buy it from me?
Yeah, that's right, I shouldn't have taken it from where I found it.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I'm going up next weekend, or not next weekend, sometime in March, to talk to a guy from Hillsdale College who's an expert in Spartans.
Okay.
Spartan lifestyle and what it was like during there. So I like to get away from the strength athlete stuff just every once in a while because I get bored with
Absolutely.
it. Yeah. But yeah. So that's there's a ton of people out there, and I always tell you, if you think anybody who I need to be talking to, you told me about the coach from University of Buffalo. I think?
Yeah, he was the Division I Strength Coach of the Year this past year.
Yeah.
Like he. And then he just got a job down at Georgia Tech.
So now that's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Buffalo is easy shit.
But yeah, he was. I saw him speak last year up at Buffalo.
Yeah.
And just like the passion that he had during his talk and like what he was showing. And then I started following him on social media, like on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. And like his energy was just so contagious. And he is one of the guys, like he puts out a thought every day or like some piece of motivational advice every day, and it's just a super smart guy, very passionate about what he does, gets his guys to buy into what he's doing. I think they had one of the best records they've ever had at Buffalo this past year, and I mean, like I said, he got Division I Strength Coach of the Year. So it's just like hearing him speak, he's like, sets and reps. Anybody can pick up a book or find a program somewhere and implement it. But he was all about just getting the kids to buy into what you're doing. And you can tell he just does such a good job with that. He's good in front of people and very, very motivational.
I'm 100% after all these years. I think within reason, anything you do is going to make your athletes better. Within reason, obviously. It's all the environment and whether they buy into it. There's a chapter in the book on Ashland and Westside. Those are the two places I've been familiar with. And to be honest with you, I think in either one of those places you could have switched the systems and you still would have had successful guys. Because it's just nobody wants to let Louis down. No one wants to let Judd down. You got all those animals, and I looked at Westside, all those animals in there who hated each other and were trying to fucking kill each other and, getting in arguments. No one wanted to lose to each other. So it was a very negative, you're going to lose kind of thing. And then at Ashland, it's completely the opposite. So it's complete positivity, constant positivity. It's just two different ways, two different branches, and you're getting these incredible results out of these people. And I just think it's it's the environment over the system every time. And we talked about earlier, you do those basic exercises. You put them in a great system. And just
our defensive coordinator at Ashland is 78 years old. His name is Tim Rose. He has been everywhere. So his first head coaching job was at Lorraine. It was at St. Mary's in Lorraine.
Oh, wow.
And then from there he went out to Colorado. And since then, I mean, he was the head coach at Miami University. He was at Boston College, Eastern Carolina, Eastern Michigan, Toledo. Like, the guy's been everywhere. And he has more fire than most people I've been around still at 78 years old. And he gets his kids to buy into him and all that stuff. He's been at Cincinnati. But I asked him one day, I was like, Coach, I said, who's the best strength coach you've worked with where you've been? And he's like, you got a few minutes? I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so he starts talking and he goes, I went to Toledo or wherever. And he goes, man, we have the best strength coach in America. He's like, oh, wow, no shit. And so he just watches the guy and he's like, hey, he's okay. And then he, goes to Boston College. We have the best strength coach in America. Oh, no shit. So he goes in the weight room, watches the guy. And then he said, it took me a few years to figure it out. He said, but every 18 to 22-year-old in America that plays football wants to get stronger. For the most part. Most of them do. So he said, that's not hard. He said, anybody could come in here and give this kid a program and they're going to get stronger.
Yep.
Said creating that transition from the weight room to the field and bridging the gap between what you guys do and what we're trying to accomplish on the field. He said that's where you start to get, that's where the difference is.
Yeah.
And he talked like he worked with Mickey Marotti down at Cincinnati when he was first starting out. He's like, Mickey's really good, and now he's making however much at Ohio State.
Right.
He's part of one of the best programs in the country. So like that was his take on strength and conditioning coaches, and it makes a lot of sense.
I think that's totally legit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to walk through your door that doesn't want to be here. Like everybody.
Surprised. All the time. They get dragged in here. Yeah.
But you've created an environment.
Yeah, it's difficult because I deal with my wife. My wife says, and you've known this from training with me, I have very unrealistic expectations of people. From a work ethic standpoint all the way to an honor standpoint, and if you break that in any way, I start looking at you kind of squirrely, and I have to realize that these people are not athletes all the time, and they come from all kinds of fucked up backgrounds, and it's my job to not just get them stronger and in better condition, but people laugh at me all the time in here because they say, I'm going to be your life coach.
Yeah.
So we're going to figure this out together. We're going to, and people laugh at me, because I am half joking, but I've been through all the fucking garbage and what comes from, taking the easy road or, not doing the honorable thing. And at 45 years old, there's certain things that I live by every fucking day. And it's hard for me to expect a 26-year-old to live that same way, but it's very frustrating. But there's nothing else I'd rather do. Like I get up 4:30 in the morning every day and I'm like, let's
go,
do this, I'm
That's
psyched
awesome.
and ready to go. Now by noon I might be like, oh fuck me, but I put Judd's wave loading in the other day for squats, and I wanted to slip my wrist by the time it was over. Like trying to teach people how to wave load is ridiculous. But yeah, my expectations are way too high, but it's better than I guess having too low.
Yeah.
I think
Have you ever kicked anybody out of your gym?
Oh yeah,
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've kicked people out. We kicked a couple out of here once. One of them was a coach. And him and his girlfriend we kicked out. I banned a couple people where they've left on shady circumstances. And I just said, because they'll call you back in 2 months and want to come back. And yeah. There's probably, I think there's something like 6 people and a dog that I banned for here.
I don't know what the dog did.
Yeah. Our one coach, Susan, I call her the horrible old lady. She's got this little, I think it's a Chihuahua.
You're serious?
Oh, I shit you not.
I thought you were joking.
No, we have dogs in here all the time. And we did a fun run. We do a fun run on Thanksgiving every day. And this fucking dog's biting everything. Every time, like, poor Mike Jeremiah, who's like this awesome runner guy, he had to like hurdle the dog because he's like biting at him. I'm like, dog is banned from this gym. Don't ever bring Jack back.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Jack has bit a number of people from this gym. So. She posted some video the other day about, how sad it is when your dog died. And I'm saying, oh my God, I can't fucking wait for this dog to get out of here. It's just pure evil. Yeah. Susan, sorry. Oh, shit. I forgot what I was going to ask you. So are you going to be doing any more speaking? Or what's going on with the big one? Are you in the works planning for next year for that conference? Was amazing. Your conference at Ashland far exceeded any expectation I had, even with having great guests on there. I just did not expect it to be that good. I just gone to Swiss.
Yeah.
And Ashland, a one-day clinic, in my opinion, was just as informative and fantastic. I was super psyched.
Yeah, that was I really wasn't expecting the same thing
Yeah.
either. It was way better than I could have ever imagined. I mean, we're planning already for next year and how to make it bigger and better without being too cheesy. Because like that's the one thing that the sprint coach brought up. Like we were just talking about it to him, and it was like, yeah, man, because he was there. He came and he listened to the speakers, and he was like, man, that was so awesome. Like, how are you gonna make it better for next year? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, but we have to.
Yeah.
We can't have, we can't have it down here or anything like that. But he said, well, yeah, you just got to make sure that you just don't do too much, to make it better than before, and then people kind of lose that magic that was there the first time.
So you had Matt Wenning, you had Judd Logan, you had Ryan Fanley.
Yep.
I always say his name fucked up, right? Is that
Fanley?
Okay.
Yeah, it's just spelled weird.
And then, you're right, yeah. And then Dr.
Venata,
who was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
And
Chance.
Just Chance.
Yeah, just Chance. Yeah.
Fucking Chance was great.
Phenomenal.
It was probably my favorite because I had heard Judd speak a million times and I heard Matt speak a million times, but Chance was fantastic.
He was just supposed to come and listen.
Yeah.
Like he was just gonna be sitting in the crowd, and so Ryan destroyed his pec, floor pressing, and so he calls me like a month out. He goes, hey, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it to the clinic. So this is what happened. He goes, I've done it before. The last time it happened, recovery was about 6 months.
Yeah.
And so he goes, I don't want to be going up in front of people hopped up on, pain meds and all that stuff. So I was like, we still might want to have you because you're a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, and he's funny as fuck. No one would have noticed him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's another one I'd like to get on the podcast, but go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's like, I think I'm out. And I'm like, okay. He goes, no hard feelings. Go find somebody else. Like, don't worry about it. And I'll let you know the closer we get.
Yeah.
If I can make it or not. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And so talking about it with Anthony and Judd, I'm like, man, who can we get? Chance was going to come anyways.
Yeah.
Super successful gym down in Georgia.
Yep.
The guy has more certifications than most people I know. Incredibly smart. Like he goes and he seeks out people. He learns from everybody. The guy's traveled to China, Russia, a number of times. And so I texted Judd one day. I'm like, what about Chance?
Yeah.
He goes, yes, I have the perfect topic for him.
Yeah.
And so, Judd reached out to him and was like, hey, come speak. This is what he wanted him to speak about, and he killed it.
Yeah. And reiterated that whole thing that it's all environment.
Yep.
It's just here's the program, and all the coaches have different programs. There's no Russian program or Chinese program.
That he I messaged him probably a month ago, and I was like, dude, people are still talking about your talk.
Another guy I'd love to get on the podcast.
Jance? Yeah. He, it was great. And the sponsors that we had, like you guys were a sponsor with coffee.
Yeah, we'll always be a sponsor. We'll always do
t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
It's, we got some donations from some local companies, that we were able to pay our speakers with. So based on the success of this first year, I think that it'll be easy for us to go out and ask for a little bit more from our big sponsors.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And to be like, hey, this is going to be big in the future.
I honestly think it's going to be the biggest one in the country. I think it'll be bigger than Summer Strong. I think it'll be the Swiss isn't in the country, but I think it'll be bigger than that. The only setback I think you're going to have is where the fuck are you going to put all these people?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
There's no hotel space in Ashland.
No.
Very few.
We've talked about talking to Hampton because they just built a new Hampton out by 71. Hampton and
I guess over by like with the Oasis over there, there's a bunch of hotels. That's not too far at all.
No, and we're going to talk to them about running a deal like, hey, hold a block of rooms for us, or donate a room or two for some speakers that we're going to bring in from out of town, something like that. And then, like you had said, doing 2 nights or doing 2 days, I think is probably the route we're going to go.
Tell you what, man, Swiss was great, but where I learned the most and where I got the most was in the bar between the seminars. Most of this shit is nuts and bolts and that's the thing. Another thing I think you stay away from as much as possible is the nuts and bolts shit because you can get that everywhere. You want to hear these personalities talk, but sitting in the bar we're sitting there, and like I said, I'm talking to Wendler, or I'm talking one night we come in, and Judd and Megan come in, and I met Adrian from Rocky River, who's a Poliquin coach.
Yeah.
So she's coming out here this week to do some strongman stuff.
Yeah.
You just got to meet all these people, and we're fucking with Chris Duffin in the parking lot, which is hysterical. Carrie Overfelt goes up to him and goes, "Hey, look, it's Chris Duffin. You want his autograph?" And Duffin's just looking at us like, he has no, poor guy. He just has no idea how to deal with Carrie Overfelt.
But we're gonna do 2 days, a few speakers Friday night, and
try to get everyone in the same hotel. That way they can hang out.
A social, and then all day Saturday, and just see kind of where it goes from there. I think we were texting back and forth afterwards, and saying it's going to be bigger than Swiss and Summer Strong. Like, if that is the case, like I said, I'm going to retire down to Florida and sell jet skis and wear a thong.
That's the way to do it. That's always been my dream. I just put that on everybody. I have faith in it. It's going to be big. It's going to be always in December, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that second week of December is.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. Originally, it was supposed to be in the summer.
Yeah.
And that fell through. And then we were looking at open dates in October. And then Judd was like, "Hey, December NCAA dead period.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches are off.
Yeah.
Football's over with. See if we can, make it work then." And it just happened to work out for everybody. So, it's finding speakers and just continuing to make it grow.
Yeah, and I honestly think that the more speakers you get who have stories to tell and inspiration to give, as opposed to the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
I think that's why Jance was so good. I think that's why Judd was so good. Not that the other ones weren't, because everyone there was fantastic.
Yeah.
But those were the ones that I really enjoyed the most.
Yeah. Which, for next year, wanted to ask you on the podcast, would you be willing to speak?
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah. You wanted about the standard type programming, or
anything?
All right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we got some time.
Kind of psyched about that.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me time. I need a lot of time. That'd be great. I'd love to do that.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Cool. Good.
Awesome. So anything else coming up on the horizon? We'll get ready to shut this down. And
you got something coming up. You got
speaking at
softball.
Speaking at the ASICS
track and field.
Yeah, conference.
Oh, where's that at?
Amherst High School.
Oh, right. Matter of fact, because me and Pape had been talking about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was the one that was they wanted to get some, I don't know, some strength coaches in that had talked before, and he thought of both of you guys. And I said,
he shot me a message.
Yeah,
I've been in touch with him, and I'm talking on training high school throwers, training high school sprinters, and then jumpers.
God, yeah, because there's so much that people are doing wrong, especially with sprinters. And
it's going to be amazing how similar the talks are going to be.
Right? Stay basic.
Right.
And stay in your wheelhouse, and don't make your sprinters run distance, and don't make your throwers run distance.
Right.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be that,
right?
Maybe be common sense, but it's not.
It's not.
No.
They don't feel like they're doing enough work.
Yeah.
Like, the practice didn't last 2 hours, and the kids aren't drained at the end of it.
Yeah.
They don't understand that.
Yeah.
Make them fast, make them strong.
That's right.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming out. If you go out and check out the gym, I don't know if you guys want to train or whatever you want to do, you're more than welcome to. And I got some crazy shit on the board today, so.
Sweet. Yeah. That'll determine if we stay or not.
That's right. All right, Tony and Malcolm, thank you very much. This has been The Refined Savage. See ya.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the show today. Make sure you head on over to therefinedsavage.com. We got all kinds of new gear up on the site, and look forward to our upcoming episodes. Have a good one. See ya.